5 minutes. That's why I'm looking down.
And so what we were working on is actually okay, perfect. Starting about 4 hours. We had a meeting. We're like, by the time we do something, yeah, it should be right. Yeah.
No, I have a or not. Okay. Yeah, I'll hold on to it. Yes, sir.
And each one comes in around you, right? Further sets. Yeah, so this water that's coming out of there was in that northernmost channel, and it was going out, it was crossing out this road. And then down there, I was like, well, there's no, it doesn't look like there's any homes, but it's still just does it. Yeah, those were. Yeah. And honestly, it's. One big address. Yeah. I want to make sure.
But once everything gets beat up, kind of work out.
Yeah, they got over there okay, because they run a tire. Yeah. They don't, so we actually go 10, 15 miles out to have here. Yeah, I don't, I truly don't even know that this one over there is.
Yeah.
That's the only time. Otherwise, we're just.
They're in the east.
Yeah.
You guys before.
I get you.
Complex, right?
Yes, So I don't know, you see how much effort got for it. And so
Oh, yeah. What's the all that stuff. Put that up. Like 4 o'clock. 400 something. Yeah. If you can't get those,
I shared it.
all of our yeah, no. I suspect. Oh, yeah. Talking about things. Coordination. Or we should be there.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and get started. The one representative should be coming in shortly, so I don't want to waste any more people's time. So when everybody ready? You guys ready? Apple Valley, you all set?
Yes, thank you.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for coming to this press release briefing we're doing today. This is in relation to the flood event we've had this week in Yakima County. I have numerous agencies here today that will be speaking. Once we get done doing theirs, we'll do a Q&A for everybody. So I'm going to do a quick lead up to the event we've had. So starting last Saturday, NOAA, the Weather Service, started sending out announcements about some possible rise in the rivers from an atmospheric river coming across through the Pacific Northwest. The modeling we had showed that the water was going to start to rise roughly mid-Tuesday and crest on Thursday. That started to change Monday night. The water came in quicker. It came down through the valleys much faster. By roughly 4 a.m. on Tuesday morning, we already had damage to a bridge up in the Nile and homes starting to be flooded. So that was significantly faster than predicted. We already had crews out throughout the night watching the rivers and watching for any flooding. So between myself, YSO, and some other agencies, we were able to start dealing with some issues we had right away once we noticed the floods were starting to happen. Once that started, the water in the Natchez started coming up fairly rapidly. It came up all day until approximately 4 p.m. It started to go back down, rescind a little bit, so it gave us a little reprieve there. On the other hand, the Yakima, around 5 o'clock, the Yakima River started rising. We started seeing some minor flooding throughout the Sela area around the golf courses, in that area. From there, we've been dealing with some other issues. The agencies that come up and talk, they'll talk about what some of the stuff they've done. This is supposed to continue. We're going to have a few days here of a lull, but the NOAA says next week, starting Monday night, we're going to start getting more rain in. Doesn't seem to be as significant as this week, but it's still going to bring the rivers right back up to where they're at. The Emergency Operations Center for the county opened up Tuesday morning. It's been operational next door here. It's going to stay open until at least another week. After that, we'll begin doing recovery analysis for the county, what damage we've had done. With that, I'm going to invite Commissioner Kurz up here to say a few words.
Thank you, Tony. And first, I want to thank all the media for coming this morning and doing your coverage. It's important, so thank you. So very early morning Tuesday, Tony contacted the Board of Yakima County Commissioners requesting for a declaration of a flooding emergency. And the Board of County Commissioners were very swift to get that declaration done. These types of declarations are not unique for the county. They're routine in nature. But what that declaration did is it empowered with an additional tool set our Office of Emergency Management, Flood Control, County Roads, and Public Services to do everything in their power to mitigate as much loss of life and property as possible. So there are two things I will touch on. One is preparation, and the second thing is mitigation. Our Office of Emergency Management does everything in its power to prepare for the worst, because if we don't prepare, the worst will happen. And I will say, due to my role as chair of the Board of County Commissioners, I've had the opportunity for the past 3 days to see these folks in operation. And this community should be very proud and appreciative for the level of excellence, all of our agencies that it takes to do these types of emergency operations. They're very professional. The communication was on point, very effective, and the sharing of information, resources, and talent was really, really amazing and appreciative. The second thing is mitigation. You know, it's very, we're very short to, sometimes we forget the amount of work it takes to mitigate these types of flooding scenarios. And I know we'll have Troy Havens from our flood control district talk about some of the projects that the county's flood control district has worked on over the past decades. But these projects are extremely vital, and the work must continue so that we can mitigate and prepare for these flooding events as they come. As Tony stated, we're not through this yet, and my request to the community is just be patient. If you see emergency responding folks, give them space. But also I ask that, you know, the weather outside is kind of deceiving. While it's nice outside, the conditions along the river are not nice. And so let's give the river space. Let's allow it to do what it needs to do as it moves through its flooding event. So again, on behalf of the Board of County Commissioners, I want to thank Tony and his team, the countless dozens of agencies that it takes to do this type of coordination. Again, the community is thankful, and we're proud for the work that you guys have done. Thank you.
All right, next up is Flood District.
Thanks, Tony. Troy Havens with the Yakima County-wide Flood Control Zone District. As Tony mentioned, we're expecting a crest kind of midweek. And so we, Flood Control Zone District, had spent all day Monday coordinating with the Army Corps of Engineers, Yakima Valley Emergency Management, county roads, trying to make sure we know where all of our equipment is, sandbags, kind of prepping communication, getting a game plan. All that turned out to work in our favor as that flood crest came earlier than we thought. That pre-communication helped a lot. As Commissioner Curtis mentioned, the Flood Control Zone District has been preparing for this flood for 27 years. So in 1998, the Board of County Commissioners started the Countywide Flood Control Zone District, charged with creating a more resilient community. And since then, we've invested a lot of time improving rivers like the Natchez and the Yakima River. We've done things like expanding the Donald-Wapato Bridge. We've set back a lot of levees on the Natchez River, allowing more room for flood conveyance. Same with the Yakima River. The crest on the Natchez was the third highest on record, only succeeded by the 1933 and 1996. I strongly believe that if this same flood would have came 10 years ago, without the projects we've implemented, we would see some serious damage, as we did in 2011, 2015. So it was very nice to not have to be worrying about half of our levees. We can focus on the ones that we know are problems and we're still working on. But I think just those projects alone have helped out a lot. I think that's about it.
Next up will be Yakima Health District.
Thank you, Tony. My name is Kate Wolterstorff. I am the Environmental Health Program Manager for the Yakima Health District. I'm here today to talk a little bit about the impacts of flooding as far as drinking water safety, septic systems, and general sanitation. Floodwaters can contain dangerous bacteria, viruses, and pathogens that can impact human health. Skin contact with floodwaters is not something to be concerned about, as that does not pose an immediate health hazard, but the ingestion of any floodwater through drinking or eating can pose serious health risks. Even if your property is not immediately impacted by flooding, it's important that you keep an eye on the water coming out of your faucet. If you notice any changes in the taste, odor, color, or cloudiness, do not use the water to drink or for personal hygiene, such as bathing or brushing your teeth. If you do have a property that's impacted by flooding and you have a private well, if that well becomes submerged at any point, do not use the water for drinking or for personal hygiene. You can safely treat the water by bringing it to a rolling boil for at least 1 full minute. We don't recommend the use of a disinfectant like bleach for drinking water, as it kills some bacteria, but it doesn't kill all of the parasites that we would see in a flooding event like this. If you do have a private well that's been impacted, after floodwaters recede, it's important that you thoroughly disinfect your well before resuming use of it. Before you work on your well, ensure that you shut off power. And then there are disinfection guidelines listed on our website. We also have copies of those guidelines if any of the media organizations would like to take that with them. After the well has been disinfected, it's important to get it tested for coliform bacteria before resuming use of it to ensure that the water is safe to drink. If you get your water from a well or a water system that someone else manages, you can reach out to that organization for information about the safety of the water that you're getting and any actions that they've been taking to protect the safety of that water. If you have a septic system on your property, be aware that flooding may cause sewage to back up into your home. Block any drains that are in the basements of your homes, and avoid use of any appliances that generate wastewater, including toilets, sinks, dishwashers, anything like that. If your septic system has any electrical components, ensure that you turn off electricity to that system to prevent the risk of electric shock. Once floodwaters have receded, it's important that you do not immediately pump the septic tank while the ground is still saturated, as that can cause the septic tank to lift up out of the ground. Once the soil has dried, contact a licensed septic professional for an evaluation of your system and to have the tank pumped out. After the floodwaters have receded, clean up and dry out your home quickly to prevent the growth of mold. Use bleach to disinfect any durable surfaces that were in contact with floodwater or sewage, and discard any soft surfaces that cannot be disinfected. You can use 1 cup of household bleach per gallon of cool water as a safe and effective disinfectant. If you have any questions or need guidance specific to your situation, please contact our Environmental Health Help Desk at 509-249-6508 to speak with an environmental health specialist. Additional information is available on our website at yakimapublichealth.org, including lists of licensed septic and well professionals and certified drinking water labs. We also have additional resources on our website, such as our private well users guide, which has information about general upkeep of your well, as well as emergency information. All of our resources are available in English and Spanish, and our Environmental Health Help Desk is a bilingual line. So again, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to the Health District. Thank you.
Up next will be Yakima County on the situation of our roads. Matt?
Good morning. My name is Matt Petrushevitz. I'm the county engineer for Yakima County. A lot of what I have to say is a repeat of what many people have said, and it's an illustration of how county government, state government, and local governments do not operate in a vacuum. We all work together. The role of the county engineer and the office of the county engineer is more than just county roads. We work very closely with the Corps of Engineers managing the river levees on the Natchez and on the Yakima rivers. And those are in very good shape. And with Troy's help, public services, again, we don't operate in a vacuum. We operate together. And we keep a very close eye on that, and things are doing very well. The county road system is, we have water on the roads. When we build the road on the floodplain, it floods. We do have one substantial damage, except on the Nile, off of Highway 410, an approach span. It's a bridge, but it's an approach span on the Rattlesnake Creek, and we have lost that bridge. So we will repair it. And the good news is it's a loop road. Nobody has lost access to the properties. There's no danger for health and safety and emergency response. And we are well aware of it. We're going to wait till the water goes down to assess it accurately and effectively and determine what the best way to move forward is. We are always here, and 24/7, give us a call anytime. So thank you.
Right, next up will be Pacific Power. Tony.
morning. First, I want to make sure to thank our first responders and emergency management folks, as well as our county personnel, for all the work that you guys are doing. Your efforts definitely do not go unnoticed. As far as the power company goes, Pacific Power crews continue to respond to outages along the river due to flooding, with poles and wires down in several locations. Our crews are working around the clock trying to restore power, but as you all know, conditions are extremely challenging right now, and access has been an issue, mainly because of floodwaters, excess debris falling because of saturated ground, and road closures in some areas. At the peak of the outages, we had around 450 customers who lost power, but we've gradually been able to make repairs and restore. And as of this morning, we have around 150 customers out. This includes around 44 in the Pine Cliff area and around 110 customers north of Boulder Cave. Overnight, we did have some successes, and crews were able to replace poles and power lines in some areas, restoring power to more than 300 customers. Since Wednesday afternoon, we have been sending out communications to customers, letting them know what we're doing and some of the obstacles that we are facing. We did send out outbound calls to all customers who lost power. And Thursday evening, we sent out follow-up text messages and emails. Affected customers will continue to get notifications as restoration efforts continue. But we do want to encourage customers to go online and make any changes to their account and update their contact information on our website, as well as your notification preferences. That way you can be notified when there are emergencies like this. Thanks.
Thank you, Tony. Okay, next up will be Yakima City Fire Department. They're going to talk about some of the things they did when the beginning of this flood started.
Thank you, Tony. Good morning. Chris Hutzel, Deputy Chief with the Yakima Fire Department. As Tony mentioned, Tuesday, as the waters were rising in the Yakima River, we received information that there was individuals trapped on the islands. Yakima Fire Department, in coordination with the Yakima County Sheriff's Search and Rescue, Office of Emergency Management, began working the problem and finding these people and coming up with plans to extricate them up. Initial report Tuesday morning was 2 individuals trapped on an island. By the time we ended the day, we had removed 22 people from the Yakima River with roughly the same number of pets, dogs, and cats. Once again, this was a unified effort between all agencies, use of military aircraft, dust off from the YTC. All said and done, no injuries or accidents that were reported from the 4 to 6 hours of operations that we did conduct. At this time, Yakima Fire Department still has the availability to support swiftwater rescues in the Yakima County, but we have yesterday we did release 2 teams to go to Skagit County to assist with state mobilization for the flooding that they're experiencing there. So at this time, we have 2 crew in Skagit, and we have our people available here in Yakima County. I just remind people, no different than everyone else, please steer clear of the rivers, raging waters. It's still not safe to be in and around it, and we want to make sure that everybody is safe. Thank you.
Okay. Next up will be Natchez Fire. Talk about what they've been dealing with.
Morning. My name is Alan Barrett. I'm the fire chief for Natchez Fire, Yakima County Fire District number 3. Just to give you a little bit of an idea, the district covers from about milepost 192, about the water treatment plant, to the summit of White Pass, the Lewis County line. So we cover about 250 square miles. Most of my remarks are going to be anything that's east of the junction of 12. We didn't have any reports of any issues on White Pass, which is fortunate. But most of our attention since the beginning of the event was primarily east of the junction and Natchez River down to our boundary with Glede. Fortunately, we didn't have any water rescues. I assisted Niall with one on the first day up there. But most of our attention is monitoring the river flow. The bridge at Natchez Wonderland had some really serious water flow It's withstood everything, including all the trees and debris that came down. Was in contact with the folks over there. We had about 9 people that have stayed in place over there, but everything's looking good as far as the bridge so far. We did have some minor flooding in some of the historical places down along Craig Road, and that we didn't have any evacuations in that area. We did have one house that water inundated their well and septic system, so they voluntarily moved out. We do have one house that's right on the east end of Natchez that the road or the yard has been eroded away, and a significant part of the foundation is now hanging out over the river. They've lost their domestic well and everything like that. So we kind of got our attention on that. The big issue that we've had is where Highway 12 coming out of Natchez has been completely wiped out by the river. It's grown quite a bit since yesterday, probably about 3 times the area that it was. So with DOT, they have detoured the traffic on Bonlow, which runs off of Allen Road, and then it connects back up on the west end of the washout. That's going to be in place for the foreseeable future. They do have a contractor in place for the repair of the road, but it's going to be quite an extended period of time, I would say probably in the weeks, if not. So right now, everything's going good. We've been in communication with the school district because that is a school zone right in front of the new elementary school. So that causes a traffic problem. Fortunately, right now for us, Highway 12 is still cut off at Randall, so we don't have the cross-state traffic like we usually do. So that's something we're going to be keeping an eye on as far as impact on the local community. The one thing I would really stress for people, and it's been that way for us in our district, is the patience, especially if you're driving through. The traffic is obviously heavier than it is. So if you're headed west on 12 to Natchez or accessing the Titan-Cowiche area or points west, is just be patient. There's a school zone there. And then you have your normal traffic. So just take your time, follow the speed limit, look out for people. There's a lot of people out and about looking at the damage. And so there's a lot more pedestrian traffic than we usually have. So patience on that. And then the other thing I'd like to comment is the community has really stood up over the last few days. I've been getting a lot of calls of what they can do to help out. And we've been kind of saying, well, at this point, we don't really have any idea where you can help out. But we did get some sandbagging material the other day from the county. We got some people that came in and got some of those. We left, it was kind of like your self-serve sandbagging station. We left a pile of bags out there. And sometime between the last people that left and when I looked later on, somebody came in and bagged up probably 30 bags with the remaining stuff and just stacked it up there nice and neat for the next people in need to come in and just load it up. But that just tells you a lot about our community. And I talk about the community because Glebe, Nile, we're all one, and we really work together. This is not our first emergency, and it's probably not going to be our last, but it shows a lot to everybody how we come together in times of need. So anyway, thank you.
Okay, next up will be Nile Fire.
Good morning, Deputy Chief Kevin Paxton on Nile Fire. Last 4 days have been very challenging. Like people have already expressed how the community comes together and all the agencies and we all work together as a great team, which is awesome. As they said, we did have a bridge collapse on the Nile. We did have a swiftwater rescue on Tuesday morning with Yakima County Sheriff's Office, their swiftwater rescue team, and Chief Baird assisting as well. That was successful. We saved an elderly lady that was trapped in her house. Other than that, the winds came up really abundantly on Wednesday and Wednesday night. A bunch of trees fell over onto power lines, lost power up there. Trees fell onto homes up there, but fortunately, we have had no injuries. so far. The water has gone down, but as we know, there's going to be more precipitation coming in next week, so the waters may rise again. So the community has come together up there. They've been through floods before, so it's amazing to see the community come together and help out like they have. So anyway, that's all I have. Just stay safe and stay vigilant and stay away from the water. Thank you.
All right, next up will be Jacob Tate from the assessor's office for some information.
Thank you, Tony. I'll keep it quick. There is a property tax relief for property owners that are damaged, have property damage to their buildings, building equipment, facilities like their water, septic systems. Please come forward and let us know. We're trying to proactively assign those to our appraisers to be inspected as quickly as possible, but we might not catch everything. So please come forward and make sure you get those taken care of. It'll take an exemption for a portion of this year and all of next year for your property that is damaged. Please come forward and let us know, and stay safe out there. Thank you.
The one piece I do want to hit also, we've talked a lot about up in the Upper County, the Lower Valley had started getting impacted very hard on Wednesday afternoon, and it still is. There's quite a bit of flooding down there. The Yakima Nation's Emergency Management and Tribal PD are handling that and keeping us informed, so we are partnering with the Yakima Nation to work with them and help them with what support they do need. So this is, like I say, the water's not going to start reducing down, receding for at least another day or so. Again, it's only going to go down so far. We have over here, if you would like to take a look afterwards, we have the projected mapping of the water flows through the next week of what we're expecting. Again, that's just a projection, just like this week was, and the projection was a little off. I mean, it's going to happen. It's Mother Nature. She's going to do what she wants to do. With that, that concludes the briefing. Now we'll open up for any questions. Yes.
Yeah, I was just wondering, like you had just mentioned, with the water coming in a little quicker, and I know Troy Hayden, the flood district, was saying that pre-communication helped. How was it kind of having to change up with the water coming in a little quicker than previously expected?
Most of us like to be proactive. This one we had to be a little reactive. What really kicked it off for us is the sheriff's office got called for a car that crashed on that Nile Bridge. Everybody started getting up there. WASO's dispatch contacted myself. Nile Fire was paged out for the accident. That's when it really got kicked off, is the communications between all the different agencies. We stay pretty close. We all work well together. So that's what really, that car wreck, the poor guy that went off the embankment there, he's the one that really got us going. Because like I say, up to midnight that prior, there was no flooding even recognized. Yes.
What's the latest on the flooding in Sela that happened most recently? And also, do you have an estimate on the amount of homes damaged in the county as a whole?
So far, we do not have, I'll speak on the homes. We know of the one in Natchez, that right at the end there. We know that one's pretty much going to potentially be condemned the way the riverbank has washed it out underneath it. Otherwise, we have not got any reports. The Emergency Operations Center does have a situation line that people are calling in, but we haven't had many reports at all, if any, for damage to homes so far. What was your other question? I'm sorry.
The latest on the flooding in Sela?
So last night, approximately 10:30, I was called about Munson Fruit had water starting to come around it on the end of East Natchez Avenue in Sela. I went down there, looked, they did have some water starting to come around, and within 30 minutes, the water rose about 6 inches and came across East Natchez Avenue. In that area, we had approximately 8 homes that the water surrounded. We did do door-to-door and tell the people they need to evacuate out if they so wished. The water did move down onto South Rushmore, which is to the south of East Natchez. That impacted about 6 homes there, including one small farm, which ended up evacuating, I want to say like 100 goats, a bunch of pigs. They just have a small farm, but they did a bunch of evacuations. We have an agreement with the Yakima County Fairgrounds to house animals there. So all those animals were moved in or now staged at the fairgrounds until the water recedes and safe to take the animals back. Yes.
What's going to be the cleanup process after the rain has stopped? I was at the Mendocino golf course last night. They seem to have been flooded pretty severely, and the water also had a current. So does the current also kind of affect the cleanup?
Eventually, the water will wash a lot of that debris out since it's going to be a long lasting. It's not like some of our floods where it comes up, floods, and then recedes very quickly. This one's going to recede slowly, so it's probably going to push a lot of that debris out. And then there's mainly it's logs and brush and stuff like that that they got to clean out.
How long do you think it's going to take to clean up?
It varies on the area. I really couldn't tell you, but you're looking for like the golf course out there, it'll take them 2-3 months to recover because it will wipe out the grass and stuff too.
Is there any sort of like funding that you guys are going to receive to like help fix the broken bridge, the road that was completely swallowed up and things like that?
So yes, we can apply for state funding if we hit a threshold. And right now I'm waiting to hear what our damage amount threshold is. I can get back with you guys on that. I'm waiting to hear from the state. Right now the state, we're not bothering them too much. The west side of the state is heavily impacted. They got thousands of responders over there. You know, they've evacuated roughly 80,000 people have been asked to evacuate, and numerous records. Like Yakima Fire Chief said, the state requested swift water rescue teams throughout the whole Northwest. FEMA, I believe, has also come in to assist on those rescues. They brought in crews earlier this week. So to find out when we're going to get the funding, it's going to be a couple months because we have to do a whole process. The county has to do a process, figure out what it's going to cost to fix the bridges, the roads, any damage that's to the infrastructure of the county. We have to do assessments on. So it's going to be 2 or 3 months before we really get a good handle on it, what happened.
Has this prompted you guys to kind of put any new levies throughout the Yakima County or maybe the Kittitas County?
What do you mean?
Like any new levies, like or any new project plans?
I cannot answer that. That would be Troy Haven or Matt.
Levies for tax levies or
No, levies for water.
Physical.
Yeah.
Is this prompting anything?
No, there's places that are, the solution, there either is no solution or maybe it's evacuation, that the structural measures are limited. Where we can set back levees and make improvements, we're continuing to do so, but no new levees as of now.
So most of you have covered the floodplains, the restoration of the gap to gap floodplain of the Yakima River, and this is exactly why we have endeavored to do that. It is a decades-long project. We're in construction still right now, but it is just following through with our projects that we already have planned for exactly this reason. So actually, as Troy said, we're very grateful to have come so far on some of these projects that have definitely saved a lot of property and infrastructure from damage. But it's going to be something that when these floods continue to come in the coming decades, you will see the benefit of the work that is happening right now and ongoing.
Yes.
Is there any total estimate at this time in terms of roughly how many total rescues there were and how many working personnel was involved with that?
So total rescues, because Yakima Fire did the one on Tuesday. Wednesday, we had 3 more, I believe, it got too risky and dark on Tuesday night to do any operations with the water level, especially with the Yakima now coming in. So they did 3 more on Wednesday. Yesterday,
22 in total, Tuesday and Wednesday.
22. And then we had 1 yesterday out by Suntides that YSO took care of. Yes.
What are your business plans for next week?
What are the plans?
Yes.
The EOC will be staying open, monitoring, working with other agencies. And we're going to have to stay monitoring. Yes, the water's going down. We will still be reaching out to the public, let them know, yes, the water's going down, but it's still not going to be safe to go in there because the projection is it's going to come back up. And we just want to make sure everybody stays safe and not have to do rescues. You know, when people go out and, you know, we have people living on the river and stuff, when these floods happen, and we reached out, and the outreach groups that go out to the homeless, they were going to go out and start notifying everything. With the projection we had, well, that water came in so much quicker, they were not able to get out there in the time we needed to get those people off. So that's why we had the rescues. The outreach groups for human services and all the different agencies that work with the homeless, they were already proactive. They were ready to go. The water came in quicker than was projected.
It's also important to note that they shouldn't have been there to begin with. So a lot of these folks are obviously disobeying, being trespassed, and that's why we are working hard on our 5-year plan to address homelessness, because a lot of it is our inability to actually trespass people and get them out of danger where they shouldn't be. Obviously, during the summer months, we see fires caused by these people who are illegally camping. Now we've had resources pulled in to rescue them and their pets that were then not available. Thankfully, we didn't need them simultaneously, but it's important for the public to know that these people who are illegally trespassing and causing damage in the summer are also needing to be rescued in the winter months, and it detracts from the resources that are available to law-abiding citizens. So it's incredibly important for us to recognize that's why we are trying to address having the state trespass people on state property, because Yakima County has actually been a leader in the state by doing the state's work for them to get them off state property so that they are not causing damage to the environment or pulling resources away from taxpayers in Yakima County.
Any other questions? All right, that ends the press conference. Media, you are welcome to go over to the EOC and look around there. You can ask some questions. Just remember, they are right in the middle of doing stuff and answering phones and stuff. Thank you for everybody for coming. Have a good day.